Hello, welcome to another episode of So Fly. Wow, what another good episode it's gonna be. My name is Mitch. We've got Aldo.
Hi, everybody.
We've got Yelma.
How's my levels?
Your levels are good. I can hear you.
Good. Great.
Yeah, we can always turn it up if you need to, but you sound good to me, Yelma. Welcome. And of course, today we've got two guests on the show. A couple of our pals from Costa. We got Hannah Trotter and Joe Gugino. Welcome, you two.
What's up? Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for coming on the show. Hello, welcome back, Joe. Hannah, first time on the show. Good to be here. Today we're going to be talking about a recent project from Costa called the Marlin Fly Project. Marlin Fly Project. Sorry, it was a bit of a tongue twister there. Very cool effort that combines science and fly fishing. To learn more about marlin, this wonderful billfish in Mag Bay, Mexico, it's actually the first recorded billfish research mission completed on the fly, and described really as the ultimate collab of community and conservation. The project brought together some of the best fly anglers and guides from around the world, as well as top billfish scientists to work in tandem with the local community and successfully deploy 15 satellite tags on striped marlin on the fly from a panga in 24 hours. So in addition to Costa's also brought a handful of conservation community partners, including the Billfish Foundation, the IGFA, IndieFly, to not only impact the fishery, but to also leave a lasting impact on the local community that's been connected to this special ecosystem for so long. The discoveries from this industry-leading campaign will help fuel crucial data gaps and aid in local and global efforts to conserve this highly migratory species, otherwise known as an HMS, which I just learned. Costa is releasing the project in addition to an 8-minute documentary highlighting its success, and of course, we're going to put links to all this stuff in the show notes, so you can check it out, but you can find it also at costadelmar.com or simply Google the Marlin Fly Project and Costa and you can find it. But yes, we're talking about that stuff today. Before we get into into all the Marlin Fly Project stuff, how are you guys doing, Joe and Hannah?
All good.
That's a great intro.
I was going to say,
That was a good one.
There's a lot to say.
Podcast is over. Thank you.
There's a lot to say.
You don't even need us.
Well, it's a very cool project that we're excited to talk about. But Joe, where are you calling in from today? You're out in Boston, right?
I'm in Boston, right in Winthrop, Massachusetts, in Boston Harbor, right where I called you guys from last time.
I love it. Yeah, you've been on the show before. How's the fishing been out there these days?
We are wrapping down here at the end of the 23 season. We got 80-degree weather this weekend. It'll be the last time to go out. So last year I was looking forward to going down to Mag Bay. This year I'll just be dreaming of going back down to Mag Bay.
yeah, fair enough. Yeah, it's been kind of toasty up here too. Like today's like 20 degrees, whatever
I got
that
AC
is,
on,
Celsius.
Mitch.
Got your AC on, Yelm. It's crazy.
I got my AC on today.
I know it's like it's supposed to be steelheading weather here, but it's like bass fishing weather. It's crazy. But Hannah, how about yourself? Where are you calling in from?
I'm in South Carolina. I'm in the upstate of South Carolina, so about 2 hours from the mountains. Got some good trout fishing up there, and 3 hours from the coast. So spent the weekend on the coast, fishing in the low country, chasing reds.
Did you get any?
I did, yeah.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, got a couple. Got on fly and spin, so had a little girls' weekend down there. It was a good time.
Oh,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like a really good fishery you got there. Before maybe we could just talk a little bit about how you got into fly fishing and all that stuff. Like, what's your story? Because of course we've had Joe on before, but yeah, when did you get into fishing? How's that stuff kind of transpired for you?
Yeah, I grew up around the lakes in South Carolina, and my grandfather was big into fishing. He grew up in upstate New York, and my dad did as well, and did a lot of trout fishing out there, and so just was exposed to that my whole childhood. But I've worked with Costa for several years now, and obviously it kind of comes with the territory, so I love being around water, on the water, anything that has to do with water. So just adding that like competitive nature and a sport that I know I'll never be able to fully reach a higher point at is something that I really enjoy. So always grew up on spin, and really just in the last 2 years I've started doing salty fly fishing, which has been incredible, and thanks to Costa I've gotten to experience some incredible fisheries on fly that I typically wouldn't have exposure to. So it's been really special. Gotten bonefish and snook, and obviously redfish is my favorite. But yeah, it's been really special. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I can't get enough.
Yeah, I feel you. And you hooked a tarpon recently too, didn't you? Was it
I
last winter?
did, yeah. I jumped a couple tarpon on fly, so.
Oh, shit. I'm surprised they're not your favorite.
I think maybe had I landed it, it might be, but I just have more experience with the reds, and it's a Carolina thing, so.
Right.
Which we do have tarpon up here every now and then, so.
It's pretty cool.
Carolina. There's another. I mean, Mitch and I, have been lucky enough to go to Texas twice for reds, but we definitely would love to come do the flood tide thing in Carolina. That would be freaking awesome.
That's really what got me started wanting to do fly, because flood tide fishing, just like throwing a baby shrimp in there and that loud pop. I'm like, I need to do this more delicately. Like, how can I be quieter and sneak up a little bit better? So that's kind of what got that itch started.
And you said there's brookies in the state too, like kind of north?
Yeah. Wow. So the mountains are in like the westernmost tip of the state.
Right. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool fishery, like the state in general, to have brook trout and redfish all in one place. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, a lot of bass.
A lot of bass too.
Yeah, true.
Yep.
True.
That's rad.
Come on down.
Oh, we totally will. We totally will. I mean, redfish is like, oh my God, it's so fun. I've been thinking about it lately because it was November when we went to Texas a couple of years ago, and man, it was so fun.
That was the best time of year.
Water's
starting to get clear.
Yeah.
Excellent sight fishing.
I love it.
Nice.
Okay, well, maybe let's jump into this project because there's a lot to talk about. I know I covered off quite a bit in the intro, but it's a big project, like it's like I said, it's the first kind of time this has been done on the fly. Like, like it said in the video, there's not a lot known about billfish in general. Like, pretty big undertaking. Joe, why don't we just kind of like talk a little bit about how this project started, why striped marlin, why Mag Bay, all that stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we were talking before we started recording, but I mean, you guys seen all the pictures and all the videos. It's hard not to want to go there.
Yeah.
And so, Costa actually sponsored a film, Baja Lines, with partners Rudy and George and Los Locos, I think like 5 years ago in the F3T. That was a cool story of different than science in Marlin or community in Marlin. It was mountain biking. So they did cool lines with mountain bikes down all the mountains and then also catching marlin. So that was a cool video. So that was kind of on our radar. And then they continue to blow it up. It's a fishery that's been fished for years on spin.
Yeah.
And these huge sport fishers coming down from California or up from Cabo off the coast of Baja. But the Los Locos guys had pioneered it on a fly rod. And it's really cool doing a fly rod from a panga. So you're running in 20-foot boats, hour, 2 hour, 20 to 30 to 40 that we ran one day, I think 80 miles plus round trip.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so it's just super, if you're into fly fishing, you need to go. And it's on everyone's list. And it was on our list. And we saw tons of brands and people go. But we went on an exploratory mission in December 21. Myself, Cody Rubner, and Costa Pros, Brandon Sear, and Nick Labady, just to kind of get a sense of it and see, first of all, experience it, figure out what's going on there, what the fish was really like, what the community's like, and figure out kind of how Costa could do something different there. We're not sure what it was. So actually, we went down thinking we wanted to do a tournament. We want to do a teams of 2 tournament, 2 anglers, kind of have that idea of doing like a multi-day tournament. The goal would be to benefit science. It was always in the back, but we realized going down there after and experience ourselves, like a tournament's probably not going to be the best there. Why not just make the whole trip to be about science? So we came back and we figured out that not only are they an awesome species, but they're understudied. So billfish in general are probably the most understudied fish species, but specifically the striped marlin species. And so we found out by talking to our partners at the Billfish Foundation, IGFA, that the science that we might be able to get would be super useful and helpful. So that's kind of what we started coming back at the beginning of 22. How do we go down there and how do we figure out and, what's going to be of our plan of action? So it was
Real quick, what is the IGFA?
Great question.
For those
Sorry,
that don't
there's
know.
so many acronyms, right?
No, for sure.
I continue to go through them. So TBF is the Billfish Foundation and IGFA is International Game Fish Association. So they were our top 2 science partners.
Oh, cool.
In this. And so the Billfish Foundation obviously works with Billfish. IGFA works around the globe with all tons of fish species. But Costa has presented the Great Marlin Race with IGFA for a long time. So basically these sat tags every year, whatever marlin, doesn't have to be striped, could be blue marlin, etc., goes the longest, you win that race. So it's cool to see that science. So 3 of the tags from this trip will be part of the Great Marlin Race.
Yeah. Oh, that's kind of cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, most likely they will not win the race because traditionally it's blue marlin that wins. This past year there was one that was caught off the coast of, I believe, North Carolina during the Big Rock tournament, and if you look at the track online, it's unbelievable. It goes all the way off the coast of South America. It's crazy. Wow. So that's the thought with these striped marlin. We're starting to get a couple of these tags back and seeing where they go around Baja. But do they go super north? Do they go super south? We have some tags that were 4 months, some 6, some 8, some a year. So we're going to see kind of where these fish go. That's the whole point, and see how we can protect them once we see that.
So, cool. Hannah, at what time of year did this take place? Like, because it's all, I mean, for people to watch the video, and I obviously think you should.
You have to.
And kind of learn into learn a bit more. This all happened in like a day, basically, or when you all did the tagging.
Yeah, so we had 3 days that we were down there. Typically, striped marlin are only in the Mag Bay area for 3 to 4 months out of the year. So we went down in December. They did the fact-finding trip in 21 in December, and then we went back with our whole crew, about almost 30 people, December last year. And we had 3 days that we were planning to do tagging. We had gone out the first day and only got 1 tag in. So we were like, oh no, we took 15 satellite tags. Like, math is not adding up. This might be a huge flop. We weren't really sure.
Right.
And then we went out the next day, not really sure. We had gone a little bit further. I think it was south, I believe. Joe, correct me.
Way south. Way south.
So gone a little bit more south where there were reports of seeing more down there, and we had 14 in 4 hours. So we got the rest of them in that morning. We had, I think, 4 boats out tagging. So technically got it done in 24 hours. Definitely wasn't the plan. Weren't really sure. And a lot of the scientists that we took, they didn't even know. They were like, this may not even be possible because it'd never been done before.
And you have to find the fish. That's basically the problem. The
right,
hard part,
yeah.
Right?
I mean, you've got to find the fish. You've got to hook the fish. And then we had to assess the fish. Our scientists assessed them to see if they were even going to be a candidate for tagging. We want to make sure that they were healthy, that they were, would be a good fit, and that they would hopefully, survive the tagging and be able to carry the tag throughout the duration that we need it.
Right, so it's not even like you find them and then you hook them and it's like, we can't tag this one,
Exactly.
Such an undertaking.
Pretty wild challenge,
Yeah.
100%. We try to take every handicap possible,
exactly,
not on a big sport boat, on the fly, tagging them.
Yeah, pangas,
We did bring some really good fly anglers though, so that helped.
Yeah, for real. What makes a fish non-taggable aside from maybe the obvious, which would be you catch a fish that's injured, but aside from that, what's a good
assuming age for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's more so, they're just doing it so quickly, right? You're tagging it boat side. The nice thing about the pangas is that you're not in a huge sport fish, you're leaning over, so you can get a really good look, right? So you can land the bill, you can see how lively they are. I mean, most that you're landing, I'll send you guys some videos afterwards, but George and Rudy, when they landed, are going back and forth. You literally cannot hold the bill. So that's a good sign, right? They're super lively.
Yeah.
And so as long as they're not, what's that? Fight time. Yeah, as long as they're not bleeding, as long as they're coming up, they're not, going belly up. You can kind of see when you're used to fish. But the purpose of going and doing on the fly too was because this operation does it on the fly, we wanted to test that post-release mortality. So we purposely wanted to test it, how they fish it, to make sure to prove that hey, you know what? It doesn't matter if you're using a spin rod. It doesn't matter if you're using a fly rod. You're being safe. You land it quick. And to be honest, sometimes you're getting up on them quick. So they're a strong fish. Don't get me wrong, but they're not like a tuna that's going to sound you for an hour.
Right.
But sometimes we caught 2 on our tagging day. One, I had a gear failure, so it took me, I think, 25 maybe minutes, 30 minutes. It was like a coffee grinder. If you see some of the videos, I was literally reeling like this. I was getting yelled at by Cody and Rudy, just dude, reel it. And I was like, I am reeling it. I am actually reeling it. And I was like, they're like, what are you doing? Have you fly fished before? And I was like, dudes, this is not me. And then the next one jumped so much, I landed in 8 minutes. So they just jumped themselves out, which is fun
8 minutes, wow.
Yeah, it was super fast. Again, same thing, same hookup. It was a little bit smaller the second one, but it's scary because you'll see the video I posted yesterday. They jump at you. So it's you just got to watch watch out.
Yeah, because it can be dangerous, right? They have a giant sword on their nose.
Yeah, and well, that was part of the trip too. Not only did we bring, the science partners, we brought one of our partners, Talo from Fins West. He runs wilderness EMT service. And so we brought him with us. He trained the guides on first aid. He trained the operation. He worked on emergency action plan because San Carlos is 5 hours north of Cabo.
Yeah.
Not really in the middle of civilization. So just things can go wrong all the time, let alone a billfish, hooks in your hand, knives in your hand, things like that.
Yeah.
So we brought, as part of us going down there, we brought that training with us. We brought all those supplies as well. So we wanted to make sure we weren't just coming in, catching the fish and saying, peace out, guys. We came and wanted to make their operation better for going forward. That was the whole point.
That's wicked.
Yeah.
You were set.
Yeah.
So tell me about these
it was a lot of work.
Tags. Are they, because we've had a few biologists on the podcast, and they track the tags from, I guess, what, sonar or whatever. But like, what's the technology with the billfish?
Go ahead, Anna.
Does anybody know?
Yeah, so the tags are tracking it's real time. So whenever the tags pop off, which like Joe said, I think we had like 4 month, 6 month, 8 month, up to a year tags. When they pop off, our scientists are capturing the data, and then they're able to assess and analyze their movements, post-release survivability, the depth that they go, the water temperature. I think that, am I missing anything? I think that's pretty much the majority of the data that they're able to pull from that. Migration patterns.
Like that,
So, and the tags they're about $5,000 a piece. So they're not cheap.
I actually thought there would be more, if I'm being honest.
We've gotten less, but I mean, we had 15 of them. Luckily, Costa purchased some from the Billfish Foundation, some from IGFA, and then the Billfish Foundation was awesome enough to donate, I think, what was it, seven more? Seven more on behalf. And they worked with the University of Southern Mississippi Research Division, or I forget the acronym. It's so long.
Yeah.
Anyways, you can just know him as Jeremy, who came along. Jeremy. They worked with it. So now instead of only having 6 tags, we are able to actually have 15 tags come with us.
That's wicked.
That's incredible. 35 grand.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And we also deployed additional 20 traditional tags too. So
took the words out of my mouth. So what's the difference between a traditional tag and a satellite tag? I mean, I can obviously maybe
like is it transmitting data live? Or?
The spaghetti tag costs 40 cents, and it just is like literally just a sticker that goes on the side of the Marlin. It has a call this number if recaptured.
Oh, got it.
And then the satellite tag has all the data and stuff like that. So you only get 2 points of data with the spaghetti tag unless it's released, which Marlin are. So you get that every time you recapture. So the cool thing about that is you can get it year over year and see where they're at, but you're not guaranteed to get those spaghetti tags back. Most of the time, as long as that satellite tag goes up and deploys and hits satellite, you'll get that data automatically.
Wow, that's so cool.
And talking about it too, the nice thing is when we went, we found out sometimes you'll tag a fish, think it swims away fine, and then 3 days later it'll ping. So what happens is if a fish doesn't move for a certain amount of time, there's like a little fuse in there, and it will like fissure and then go all the way to the surface and ping.
But like the tag comes off.
That's what happens with the satellite tag. So the satellite tags and pings, so it comes off the fish.
And then transmits all the data.
Yeah, so it's not an acoustic tag like the ones that live in it, like you guys did with Ross and BTT. Yeah. These ones are tags that's a great question too. They're on the outside actually. So it's like right behind the dorsal. Right. You just kind of like press it in.
Yeah, you like see it on the video there. They press it into the back. It's pretty cool.
Collects all this data and then eventually pops off, and then boom, all the data gets transmitted.
And then that tag's done. So you don't have it anymore for that species. Whereas the spaghetti tag can continue to get recaptured for the duration of the fish's life, but you might never catch it again.
So I guess you're almost coming up on that year point of December. That's so interesting.
Yeah. It's crazy.
They're starting to analyze the data now, so.
They're starting now. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, we've started to get some reports back, so we've had a good success rate.
We should definitely do a follow-up show.
You should. Yeah, that's the. Yeah. So did you guys when you interviewed Ross to talk about Project Permit at all?
Yeah.
So I mean that was a big inspiration for this project. When Project Permit was done, they just released the video last year at IFTD actually, and that's 10 years looking back. We kind of wanted to make sure we captured this whole mission going forward. So even though this video that released, this is just the beginning of the project. We have no idea what's going to happen. This might be the only 15 tags we ever put out, and we hope there's more. Maybe there's an opportunity to do a ton more. Maybe there's science. Maybe there's opportunities to do different tagging with different populations. But we won't know a lot what's going on. There is a conference next fall, a billfish conference that we're going to present a lot of this at, which we're excited about, and we'll see a lot of science to analyze. But not only are the tags expensive, getting them from the States to Mexico, driving 5 hours north from Cabo to San Carlos, and then all this tag costs money to analyze it when it comes back. So it's like it's crazy how big of a process.
It's a lot of funding. Yeah,
probably why there's like I know one of the scientists in the video talks about how there's like we just kind of have a fundamental rudimentary knowledge of billfish. It's probably because of that, right? I mean, just like the funding. Because I was like, really, we only know a little bit about billfish? Like, how is that possible? You know, like.
Well, it's not like a food species, right? So it's like people aren't eating them. But then when you look at sport fishing in general and protecting, right? That's what they did with Project Permit, realizing that all these breeders were breeding in these 3 months and they're getting sharked. Why are you going to catch 10 fish and have 7 of them get eaten? We don't know what's going to happen with this baseline of science with these striped marlin. Maybe we're realizing there's less. Maybe we're realizing there's more. Like, no one's really keeping these striped marlin, but the bait fish population, how to monitor it, like there's so many things that can happen to it. Right. And this isn't the only species that the people in Mag Bay are looking at, or San Carlos, I should say, coming out. But it's a huge piece of it. People, I mean, more people, to be honest, are going out there to dive and watch them than catch them on a fly rod.
I mean, I like seeing them on film, like in the film. I was like, God, they're the most beautiful.
It's bonkers. Just looking at some of that drone footage in the underwater.
The underwater footage.
Swimming with one of these would be so sick, you know, like because the environments too. It's such a crazy.
Going after the mullet and stuff.
Well, you look at the surface when you're chasing them. You're chasing like one little. You see the bait ball. It's like this little bucket of bait fish all in a little circle, and you see like 5 or 6. You're like, there are so many fish. Yeah. The Perrin, our videographer, was underwater, and some of the clips you see like 6 or 7. There's like another 30. 30 feet below that you don't even see, and they're just like hanging out. Those poor little bait fish.
Yeah.
They look kind of like this.
Sick. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, those are one of those bee wallies.
Yeah.
This is Ben's, a little bit bigger. It's funny. George and Rudy and those guys like to say like Ben's are too pretty down. These are like more striper flies. They like them a little bit heavier. So this is one of Rudy's.
Okay.
So it gets down a little faster. So like you want to just sink it down. This one's kind of a little bit on the surface. I broke one off and it was the saddest day. So Ben tied me another one.
I love it.
That would be a sad day.
So I meant to ask earlier, like Mag Bay, why specifically Mag Bay? Was it because you guys just wanted to fish Mag Bay, which like I get it, or is it like the striped marlin thing? There's something special about Mag Bay and those fish there. Like, is there more scientific reason?
The fishery itself is special, but it was more so the way that George and Rudy and the Los Locos guys developed this operation. They didn't just go there and build a lodge. It's in the town. So they fished it for a long time before even creating a lodge. To be honest, it's not a lodge at all. It's a local hotel. So they use the local hotel. They use the local chefs. They use the local lunch. Everything's right there in locals. They're using everybody local. The only people they're bringing in is, their kind of small crew to help. So each boat is run by a local captain with a Los Locos guide as well. So you got like kind of 2 captains on each boat, which is really nice.
Right, like the 2 guide kind of thing, which I've only ever experienced in Mexico.
Interesting.
I've never had it. I've never done like the few times I've fished Ascension Bay. There's always 2 guides on the boat.
That's cool.
The senior and the junior. So that's pretty. It's pretty neat. Yeah,
it's just cool to see the operation, the way a lot of these guys were commercial fishermen. A lot of them talk about that. And so now instead of commercial fishing, they're going out and sport fishing. And they're literally Los Locos, like these guys. And they're just like, how are they getting people to come in for a fly rod? And it's just cool to see the little kids come through. And that's the point. I was seeing this fishery and we brought Indie Fly as well to figure out a project that they can do in town. We went down with the idea, maybe we'll do some with the local boat ramp. That would impact not just Los Locos, but everybody. Then we found out maybe there's something we can do in the school or not to spoil, but one of the projects they're looking at is the local boat builders. They use a lot of those boats that are built right in town to go out and possibly developing that to make it, first of all, a little bit safer to work in because it's a ton of fiberglass, but seeing just different ways to literally make a community impact there. So it's going to be cool to see.
The Los Locos guys, those guys are guides on Mag Bay, right? That's the operation that they have out there?
Yeah, they were using the local captains. Basically, a lot of those captains all did dive or commercial fishery. So instead of going out to dive, they're bringing anglers to go fish.
In a way, they're almost like coordinators. Is that a fair assumption?
I don't know. You'll have to ask them what they want to be called.
Right.
For sure. Yeah.
Well, we met them in Miami.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, they're awesome dudes.
He tied the flies that we used with Benny on Florida Bay.
Very cool.
Yeah,
it's
that's our little micro connection to those guys.
They're great guides too. Oh, sorry to interrupt you, Mitch. I mean, they know that fishery so well. That even like they're using the local captains out there driving the boat who know the waterways. But Rudy and George, I mean, their knowledge of the fishery itself, like they're, even if they don't call themselves necessarily the guides, like they might as well be. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's cool. It makes a lot of sense then. Yeah, that you get
call
with them, and then
call them the guys. They know everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the crazies.
Yeah.
It is cool, like when you do a project like this, all the different things that, because you said Indie Fly, of course, came along too, and looking at different ways that they can help the communities and stuff. So it really like turned into like this big thing beyond just like necessarily the striped marlin.
Well, yeah, when we were putting it together at the end of last year, they were like, "You're bringing how many people to Mexico at the end of the year?" We're like, "You need to do what? It's a video. You're doing what with fish?" I was like, "No, we are bringing," because now not only do we mention we had to catch these fish, but so we had a bunch of the top anglers. So we had a bunch of tarpon guides and anglers that came through. We had Paula come down from Canada. We had Hillary from Midwest, Christian from South Africa. So truly a global, global crew coming down. We missed Blaine Chocolate last minute. We had Oliver White that was going to try to come as well, but he was other places filming with Flip Pallet. So I guess Flip Pallet, Striped Marlin, Flip one, which I don't blame.
Oliver, he's got a lot of cool stuff going on, doesn't he?
Yeah, but Oliver's part of Indie Fly, so he's actually going to go down this year on a hosted trip and kind of get some eyes on it.
Sick.
He's on the board, so it's great to see. I mean, he was part of the original when Indie Fly started, so it's kind of cool to have Indie Fly being the original Costa Porn project now with another Costa project, kind of full circle coming around.
Totally.
That's rad. Are there other types of marlin or billfish there, or is it like why specifically striped marlin? Or is it just because that's what's there?
That's what they're fishing for, and that's that's like the star of the show. There are yellowfin tuna, wahoo, mahi, bunch of cool inshore stuff, rooster fish. So on like the last day, a lot of our crew went into the rooster stuff inshore.
Sick.
There's roosters. Dang, that's super cool.
It's Baja, baby.
Yeah, I guess so, right? Yeah, that makes sense. Really cool fishery.
Hannah, did you hook a marlin?
I did not. No. I was observing that day. Yeah. So I went on the first day I did the fact finding. I went around with Matt from Indie Fly, and we were interviewing people in the town, just trying to gather information on the community project. And so I stayed off a boat that day. I was kind of the on the ground person. So the second day I went out, and they were like, "We only caught one marlin like yesterday. So today it's all like top." Best of the best anglers, like you don't get to hold her on. So I happily took the backseat. I recorded, I captured film, got to watch these guys do their thing. So I just as well with me. It was an incredible experience to witness.
Don't sell yourself short. What did you do the first day?
Here we go. I knew there was something.
I did get to go chase roosters the first day. So
whoa.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's
cool.
It was sick. Yeah, I won't brag too much.
Yeah.
Oh man,
roosters are one, right? Or did you catch more than one?
I caught 7.
You caught 7 roosters?
I did. Yeah.
Damn, that's sick.
Wow.
Yeah, it was
that's
incredible.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a top of the list fish. They're so cool looking.
They're so cool looking.
I was still living off that high. I was like, all right, I'll take one for the team.
Yeah.
I love it.
But the roosters,
what about
roosters are something they're looking at too. What's that?
No, I was just saying when you had a billfish on, like how did it feel?
It's wild. It's so fun. Though if you look at some of the pictures when I was out there, it was so cold running out there in the morning. Everyone's bundled up. Yeah, we worked with the Billfish Foundation works with this company called Nomadics. They make these sweet towels, and they're out of California. And then they donated what are they, ponchos?
Changing ponchos.
So if you look at
for
some
surfers,
of the pictures,
right?
Yeah.
For surfers, but they were all Mexican colored patterns, and unfortunately, mostly white people going down with Mexican patterned ponchos in Mexico. It was not on purpose, but they were very useful. But everyone wore them because it was so cold. But anyways, we're running out. I have a hat on, full padded go in your jacket the whole time fishing. And the whole time it's like hat off, then jacket off, then this off, then it was like you just get it's so
Joe's
fun.
cranking on that reel that like wouldn't work, and he's like, "Take my jacket off, take my hat off." He's just like yelling, sweating.
I love that.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it's really cool. I mean, when they jump, every time they jump, it's hard not to yell. It's like every single time you gotta listen to myself in the videos, crazy. I just feel like such an idiot. I'm like, stop yelling, it jumped. I'm like, but when you're there, you're like, ah.
So and how long does it take to reel one in? Okay, I know we
went over this.
Like 20 minutes.
Did we?
20 minutes to like 8 minutes. Sorry. Yeah, the first one's all
I
good.
can't remember that. Okay,
Flag
we're working on a Halloween costume over there. It's all good.
Yeah.
The crazy thing's 8 minutes. Like I would never have thought
it jumped itself out. It's like I didn't do anything different. I did have a different fly reel, thank goodness. But it's just like, is it ready? I guess it's ready. We'll grab it.
I don't think anyone fought longer than 25 minutes because the scientists didn't want them any longer than that, and so we all stayed under that mark.
So that was actually part of it too. When we first told the scientists, they're like, "Nope, you're not gonna do it on a fly rod. Like we don't want to. We think it's gonna like kill them." And then we talked to the George and Rudy, and those guys are like, "Nah, most of the time it's like 20 minutes." Like, all right, I guess like let's just use straight 80. Let's bring them in. Make sure we took all the how much money and time that is to go.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
We don't need to be worrying about any leaders or anything. Get it to the boat, be safe. Everyone's there, making sure everybody's okay. But we made sure we got them in, got those tags in, got them back out.
Right.
Well, the fact that you could do that with Marlin kind of makes it like even more of a good sport fish for catch and release angling. Like ideal, right? Like, because a lot of the problems with, like for me, it's like, man, like tarpon are so cool, but it's like I don't want to like
spend hours
fight a tarpon for 2 hours. Like I'd feel so bad, Yeah. And I know other people feel the same way, and in fact, they've even changed the way they angle for them because of that, right? But it's like with a striped marlin, you can have the whole catch, fight, and release, and it's like, the fish is probably going to be fine.
That Hannah was mentioning, like how good those guys are. Like that's their best is like how to not only strip and set but like how to fight it.
Yeah.
The like backing off on it and making sure they come up and sound, like all those little tips and tricks. Like with those fish, they're really good about it, and they're really on top of making sure those fish are super healthy and then swimming.
It's cool.
So how long does it take to get one in?
All right, Elma.
Nice, Elma.
I totally missed that first part. My bad.
I like that.
It's okay. You just
I like that, Elma.
Everyone else takes my
what
voice
is
and
a
drowns it
marlin?
out.
So what are we talking about today?
It's like a largemouth bass.
Yes, exactly.
Right. Yeah. Cool.
Man.
I know it's early days, but are you getting any? Are you saying you're starting to analyze that data? Are you getting any data back, or maybe a better question is, I know you don't know where this is going to go, although it's starting to holistically go somewhere really interesting, where it's like, we'll learn more about billfish, but also that town, and see how we can support the whole, I guess 360 environment, not just the water, but the people that benefit from it. As two people who are helped found the project, like, what do you? I guess Hannah, like for you first, like, what do you hope for, like to learn, like romantically, like what do you hope to learn from not only tagging, but like you said, the day that you went around with Matt, like what do you hope for this project in that place?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's so many opportunities that could flourish from this. There's really, like we were saying in the beginning, like there's really no data on these fish at all. Like the line is very low of what we understand of them, and so just a fishery or a species that's so important to this local community, just being able to understand like how, will they survive for a long time, like what's affecting that, and potentially having management for that so that they can be around for a long time. It's going to take data like this to be able to implement something like that. So I think just finding, understanding more about them, like why are they only coming there 3 or 4 months? Where else are they going? We don't know how far. Are they going north, south, in the Pacific? We're not really sure.
Where do they spawn?
Exactly. And then, just the community aspect of it is, like Joe was saying, a lot of the guides who are running the boats, like they were former commercial fishermen, and now they're so passionate about this fishery too. Like they get it, and it's clicked for them that like they need it to be around and sustainable to be able to benefit from it. And so I think just like spreading that within the community and not coming in and just like exploiting them or taking advantage of them, but supporting them and enabling them in whatever means we figure out, most beneficial to them is really important. And then just allowing them to be advocates for this fishery. So, it is something that they're really passionate about, and you can see it. And just like the final night that we were there, this whole thing was about the community. And so we invited the local guides and their families to come to Mari Arena, which is the hotel that Los Locos operate out of. And we invited all the families, and so like the kids came and the wives and everyone, and we had dinner together and a big dance party, and just seeing how passionate they were of the success of it, and that we were able to do this was huge. I mean, they're huge supporters of it, and so I think just being able to help them in the best way, that's going to benefit them alongside the fishery.
I see this being okay. So you've done this so far, and you're going to get great results and great success stories, but then what's next, right? Like, is there another fishery that you're going to want to tag and do research on and help that.
Like another marlin fishery?
Could be anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the goal is the Marlin Fly Project. We want this community, right, Marlin Fly Project 1, or whatever you want to call it,
right,
so to speak, will be in Mag Bay, Baja for a long time. So maybe it isn't just in San Carlos. Maybe we fly tag some out of Cabo in a couple areas, depending on, literally we don't know where it's going to go. Or maybe we know it was the first fly rod going down and we're going to add more science around it with some sport fishers. I mean, it is cool. We're in Pangas and you're seeing sport fishers. They're usually out a little bit later fishing, but they're all around. But the bummer about San Carlos is there's no port, or not the bummer, it's kind of special, but like these sport fishers aren't coming into the town. So it's kind of cool to connect a sport fisher crowd that maybe doesn't connect with the fly crowd, and maybe they don't talk all the time in the fishing world. But the fact that they're using the same fishery to kind of bridge that gap, that was one of the things as well. It's kind of a super high arching goal. Maybe it hits, maybe it doesn't. But there's a couple of sport fishers we were talking with the Billfish Foundation. One of the ideas while we were there was like, hey, maybe we can have one of these sport fishers come into the bay and run them into the town to see it for the first time because they've never had the reason to. So maybe that happens later on. Maybe there's somebody that picks this up.
Oh, that's kind of a cool idea.
I mean, it's kind of crazy. We talk about 15. We probably caught, 20 or 25 in a couple boats on the day. But these sport fishers catch like 100 in a day.
Wow. Jeez, eh? Just because they're using gear.
They're all gear. It's all live bait, and you're have 4 or 5 rods at a time, and you're just pumping them in.
That'd be like one of the boats that we were on in Miami, right? Like what we did our little evening cruise on.
The
that kind of
boat? Maybe like a center console, but even more like the Vikings, like the 50, 60, 80, 90 footers, those huge things with the big sport fishers. But we'll see there. One of the ones we're looking at in Marlin Fly Project is maybe down the line is Australia. There's a black marlin inshore. I mean, we want to try to find something that's a cool, different fishery. Like you can always go out in a lot of fly rod, nothing against it, but a lot of times with billfish, you tease them up. So you get them on a teaser as you're trolling. They're in the wash. You kind of bait and switch and tease it. The cool thing about this fishery is it's all bait balls. So you're casting at them, free swimming fish.
Yeah.
It's wild.
That's crazy, man. Yeah, black marlin, you said off of Australia.
Oh my God, that'd be amazing.
That would be pretty wild.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. We'll see if we can work out the budget in here for this one.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. Or why don't you come on up to Mogami and we'll take some walleye.
Yeah, just take a
see what
pen.
they do.
Look at them.
Exactly.
I'm a billfish.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool.
It'd be kind of cool to see, more like you said, Joe. I think something I was thinking of while you're speaking would be like cool to see how if you do tag all around, let's just say, where you were in Mexico, a few different locations, and see how those fish interact with each other year over year, and or I mean, data sets from year over year. Then you can, that would be so interesting. It's kind of neat to think that like maybe a handful of people who like fly fishing and people who are like kind of involved in fly fishing may have started the most in-depth study of billfish
ever
of straight marlin in
maybe
Mexico
specifically.
Striped
marlin specifically in Mag Bay specifically.
But you never know because we don't know where that population goes. So like we started to analyze, not to tease too much, but some of the short-term tags. So obviously those short-term tags are all nearby, or not obviously. We've noticed that. Right. We don't know what's going to happen over these 6-8 months. They could have gone. Yeah. Maybe they did just stay nearby.
Maybe they go to like. Yeah, the other side of the world.
Yeah, exactly.
Crazy. Maybe, It's like, whoa, they're going to there?
Or maybe they just sat in this weird spot that no one goes and fishes.
Yeah. The Indian Ocean and back, you never know.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Who knows? See, that's the cool thing about this,
But that was the point, too, of bringing so many people down is, one, to experience it, because you have to experience it. You can tell, but then you truly fall in love with that place. I mean, that's kind of our ethos at Costa in general and many other brands that do well. If you experience it, you want to protect it, right? If you can catch that fish, you get outside, everything that you guys do up there and on your trips, like you love it, you're connected to it, you want to protect it. So that was a huge point why we brought so many people from different fisheries to really experience that. And then also just to show that community too, we didn't just come down just to be like, hey, we're in and out, we caught some fish, we're gone. Like, hey, we want to kind of figure out how we can stay part of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like funny when some people are like, hey, we released this Marlin Fly movie. It's like, no, it's not the movie. The movie's talking about the project.
About the project. Yeah, exactly.
The project's a whole other thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, cool. Well, I mean, hopefully that comes through on this podcast. There's a lot to talk about with it, and of course to keep looking into as things keep progressing. But yeah, it's super cool.
I'm realizing the last partner we didn't talk about was probably most important to get fed was Travel Crew. You guys got to meet him. He's awesome. His name's Josh. Him and his crew, they basically go he's started this model where he goes to different areas with different lodges or not lodges like this, and he helps chef up for the whole time. So making lunches, making dinners, etc.
Oh, cool.
So I joked, like going to Mexico is like we have burritos for breakfast, burritos for lunch, and tacos for dinner every day, which 100%. Is fine. It's good. But Josh and the Travel Creole team came in and really chefed it up for us and did a couple really good dinners. And on that last night when we came and they had it's like a Thanksgiving 7-course meal. And it's like, I knew they were going to be good, but they really blew it out of the water, and it was really cool to see, like, again, them come, they're sourcing local materials. I did a cooking class while they were there for the locals just to contribute too. So it was just awesome to see him and his team work.
Yeah. I mean, that's a really good full crew. You know, you guys really thought of everything on this one.
It was kind of like a cooking show challenge. Like he would go into town and just see what was caught that day, and then their wheels would just start spinning. Oh, we can do this and this. So it was really cool seeing it come. Yeah, exactly. Like, you have 5 hours, go.
Yeah, good luck.
I love it.
Yeah, but it was incredible.
I love it.
That's so cool.
Aldo, you would love him. We got to get you guys connected.
Aldo loves everybody.
Well, but he has the cooking and the fishing tie-in, so
yeah, true. Yes, that's a very good point.
And I do love Mexico. Yeah. God, I love Mexico.
Need the cocktail tie-in, and then we've got a solid.
There you go. Yeah. Well, that's what Joe's for. Cool. Yeah, I mean, I think we've tried to cover everything. Is there anything where we're kind of leaving out here? I mean, because I know we're gonna have we're gonna have the guides on, so then we'll get super techie about how to fly fish for marlin. But anything more about the project that we should maybe highlight or whatever?
Joe, I think you should tease up the Protect Report and how this is the leading story about what we're doing right now as a brand.
Yes, good point. So, Mitch, you hit it kind of in your intro and mentioned, obviously, this whole point. It's Conservation Times community. We didn't just go do the science. We wanted to bring the community to connect with it. And it's turned out this project is the ultimate culmination of that. And we'll be publishing coming up in November. So at some point when this goes live, it'll be a couple weeks after, but before Thanksgiving, our second annual Protect Report. I actually have one here somewhere. There it is. Mm-hmm. For the viewers at home, this beautiful book. But it's basically every 2 years. This is the first, published in beginning of 21, but it's 2 years looking back. So everything we did in 2019, 2020. The next Protect Report will be everything we did in 21 and 22. So all of the work. Really cool. So the Marlin Fly Project, our untangled sunglass motorcycle fishing nets, Kick Plastic program, our One Coast program, Compete and Conserve, our Bass program, TU Costa 5 Rivers, which is our college program, which added our first Canada club last year, which is pretty cool.
Where?
You knew you were going to say that. Not in Toronto, but we should get one in Toronto. It's on the other coast. I think Vancouver.
East Coast?
Yeah. West Coast.
Vancouver.
West Coast. Oh.
We're on the East Coast.
Is Vancouver the West Coast, please?
Are we Central Ontario? We're Central Canada. What do you mean? We're not even on a coast.
It's one of those. How many states do you have in Canada?
Brother?
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
And then the real meat of the story or the meat of the Protect Report is all of our community interactions. And so we have over 40 different conservation partners we work with, like Indy Fly, IGFA, TBF, Cabins for Clean Water.
Right.
Some at different levels, all across the country.
It's crazy. I just everybody and the Costa communities. It's pretty crazy. Like, I mean, sorry to interrupt you, but when Mitch and I were lucky enough to go to Miami, and also recently, hanging out with you guys in Utah, just like meeting all these people that you're involved with, like BTT and Cabins for Clean Water, and we've had Matt from Indy Fly on the show, and it's just like it's never ends.
Yeah,
like it's like it's a lot, and like it's you two are with these people all the time. Like you two are traveling like constantly nonstop to support them. It's pretty amazing.
It's super cool.
It's wild. And so that the report is showing exactly that of all the events that we show to up. It's not just to check, right? It's showing up and activating with them, having events, sending product to their events, incorporating them to our social messaging, incorporating with our events team and Kaylee and Tiffany and our events team and Evan and Trevor and our pro team and our account marketing team and our social team. It's taking that and integrating in everything we do to continue to further that Protect message. And the cool thing is, too, is as we're looking at all this data, in just 2 years, we were able to do 25 different films dedicated to our community, with everything not an overt conservation message, but because conservation's core to who we are at Costa, that comes through. So that's another part of the Protect Report. It hits all 17 UN sustainability goals. It's just an amazing report. So we're excited to release it. It's an awesome thing. It's great for the Costa team to be proud of. And it's just like, it's hard to make a difference as a brand. It takes a ton of work.
Yes.
And you got to care. And so it's cool it's not just one person team, not 2-person team. It really takes everybody, and it takes people like you guys to care and tell those stories. So thank you for that. We really appreciate that as well, and the opportunity to talk about all of that today.
Oh man, thanks for coming on, doing all the footwork and doing everything. You know,
great.
It's pretty cool. It's really
Somebody's
cool
got to catch the Marlin, right?
I know it's a tough job. Yes,
and a very and you guys help us out. Like, I mean, I think recently we screened the F3T, by the way, which Costa also supports.
Yeah.
I texted you guys the incorrect total. We actually raised more. We raised $3,200 for our local TU chapter.
Cheers.
That's amazing.
That puts us almost at 15 grand on the year.
That's awesome. Congrats.
Which is
nice
awesome.
Work.
But you two always send us wicked sunnies that we can raffle off, and so
so support those, and you're listening. You know, it's thank Joe and Hannah.
If you've ever won Costas from us, it's these two.
Best sunglasses on the market.
Yep, I love it.
We only paid you $1 bajillion to say that. You're welcome. $0.
I was like, what? Yilma's getting paid?
Yilma, what the hell?
What's that movie?
I love it.
What's that movie when they're in the RV and they're like, you guys are getting paid? I forget what
yeah. Wait, you guys are getting paid?
Oh, yeah. It's No Regrets, that movie. It's like my tattoo.
Oh,
Yeah.
Meet the Millers.
There it is.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Nice. I guess I would ask now, just because we're getting close to an hour here. Well, then what's next? I mean, what's on the horizon? What's your next? We're rounding into winter, Christmas season, but like, what's the next? I mean, obviously you're gonna get this data back, but it'll take time to analyze. But I guess what's the next thing you're working on?
We're wrapping up. We have the Captains for Clean Water Industry Summit and Gala. So it's a really cool opportunity. We'll be previewing with a lot of brands there this type of work that we do with Costa and other brands like AFCO and Yeti and Sims and et cetera that are there and that do the same thing. And how do we share best practices to support organizations like Captains? And that's just an opportunity to celebrate it. We'll celebrate that. That's like our last big conservation event of the year. We'll probably film Jupiter as Costa's new head office. We used to be up in Daytona Beach. Now we're in Jupiter. So we'll be doing a local showing of the Marlin Fly Project, some of our cool films. Did you guys ever see Mighty Waters? I'm hoping so.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with Answer. So that's an unbelievable story. Yep. Got to screen that in his hometown. Unbelievable human. So we'll show like kind of our top Protect stories of Marlin Fly and celebrate Costa's 40th anniversary. And that will be wrapping up 23.
Sick.
And then 24 is... I will think about that probably on January 1st.
Yeah, you'll try and sleep.
It was a big year.
If anybody ever meets Joe, it's like it's constant energy all the time. So if you can get some rest, do it, man. I don't know, man. You're awesome, dude. I wish I could. I don't know. I feel like I used to have more energy. Yeah, harness the power of Gugino.
I wish I could harness the power too. I'm still working.
Yeah.
That's dangerous.
It's definitely been passed on to your son that you're chasing around all the time. That's for sure. It's pretty funny.
Maybe that's what I'm going to do. How do I get Luca runs for conservation? That would be. I need a TikTok manager. Somebody help me out there.
That's true. Yeah. Hannah, how about yourself?
I really haven't thought about it much. I mean, we have been in Marlin Fly launch and Protect Report launch mode since last 2 years.
Right.
Of planning, and so like actually seeing it come to fruition, it's kind of a weird place, you know, like putting a nice bow on this, but then keeping it moving and starting, I don't know, the next 40 years of Costa.
On to the next thing.
So I don't want to like spill any secrets or anything, but we're gonna keep that momentum going and. Got some really cool projects planned ahead, so you guys will obviously be a part.
Sweet. Yeah, well, we're so nice to actually see everybody in Florida and then Utah again, and that was awesome. So
it's cool just to learn about all the salt, like kind of through Costa. I'm learning about the salt fishing world and like captains and meeting Chris and stuff and Benny.
That was really cool.
It's like, oh, like I see this stuff on Instagram, as a person up here, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's crazy, tarpon and stuff. And then to like actually meet the people and do it, it's like, oh wow, like it's a really interesting fishery. So
well, I think too, like we've had, being in Toronto, we are a, we're maybe, I don't know if this there's no data to back this up, but we are a well-traveled angling group. Like people that come into drift, working at drift outfitters, like lots of people, snowbirds. They're going to Florida. They're fishing for tarpon. They're going to Mexico. They're going to Cuba. They're going to the Bahamas.
Totally.
I've had a lot of people at our events come up to me after and be like, "Hey, do you know how I can donate or get involved with BTT?" Just because of after meeting you, because captains, because we do recreate in these places, and a lot of the people, at least that hang out at our events, they care, and they might spend 3 months of their year there, and now there's it's found
a lot of snowbirds.
They come here. They know how to get involved here. There's Trout Unlimited. There's, other Ontario. There's, the Ontario River Alliance, Swim, Drink, Fish, and stuff. But, for a foreigner that might spend, a quarter of their year, now they've got or at least
access to.
They've have access to that because we've been hearing it at our, or at least I have, being like, oh man, thanks for connecting me with BTT, because now even if they just give some money, it obviously helps, especially if tags are $5,000,
$5,000.
So
every tag, the spaghetti tag is only 30 cents.
But still, it's cool. It's great because we're all connected by water at the end of the day, and
we need it to breathe.
We need it to breathe.
Wow. Nice one.
That's where we end.
That's why he gets paid.
That's why he's getting. See what's out there. See what's out there.
On Coast.
So anyway, it's been really cool. Like, because sorry, I'm just trying to echo what Mitch was saying. We've learned more after meeting you guys, and I know that people in our community through that have been able to learn more and hopefully get involved too. And it's rad. So just keep it up.
Working.
I think a lot of that thanks comes to you guys though, because we do this work, but it takes you guys to get it out there, and so especially organically. So thank you to you as well. I hope you know how much we appreciate you guys.
Oh, bless.
Thanks for saying that.
It takes a village.
Yes.
That's for sure.
And looking forward to more. And everybody keep an ear out for the results on this, and also where the Marlin Fly Project heads for the coming time to come. But you're
obviously, if you're listening to this on Spotify or what's it called now? It's not iTunes. It's Apple Music, Apple Podcasts,
Apple Tunes,
Apple Tunes, something.
Amazon.
All of these links will be in the show notes. So watch the film, learn about the project. But that being said, Joe, Hannah, if people want to get involved with the Billfish Foundation or Indie Fly or anything, is I guess CostaDelMar.com the best place to go?
Yeah, we'll give you guys the URL for the Marlin Fly Project directly on the Costa website or Costa social, and then we direct to all those partners' socials as well, so everybody's tagged there.
Because if you are a Billfish fan, there is a Billfish Foundation.
And if you're a Bills fan, we're winning. Yes.
Yeah, the Bills are up. Nice.
They just scored.
Why
there
not?
You go.
I hope they lose.
Oh, come on.
I'm a Dolphins fan.
He's a Dolphins fan.
Everything's Miami with this guy.
Yeah, man, I would love to.
He was in his element there.
Yeah,
I love fucking
Miami.
Holy shit.
Yes.
Miami. I love it there.
They haven't
I love
stopped
it even
talking
more
about
now, realizing how close Florida Bay is to Miami. Okay, I think that's. I don't know.
Yeah,
is
I
that
think that's bueno. Thank you so much, Joe and Hannah, for coming on the show. We much appreciate it, and we hope you guys have a splendid rest of your evening.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks so much.
See ya.